What is up, YouTube? And for your first two decks we're going to be looking at are the first and second place list from Deutch Nationals this past weekend, and I can't really say that I'm surprised to see these results. The first one you're looking at here is actually the winner of the Nationals, which is actually just Mystic Mine in Sky Striker. And we've kind of been talking about this a little while. The OCG kind of started adapting towards this mentality as of late by trying to use Mystic Mines as a way to slow down the flow of the game for players, and as we've definitely started to see now, this has been the case. And I remember coming out of the Floodgate this weekend, we had so many decks across all different forms of life events, and it was crazy. And I will say that, yeah, congratulations to everybody that did well this weekend. I definitely think that these events overall are... they're a good representation of the metagame and how diverse it can actually be. But once we start to figure out the format and we start to learn what's actually going on between all of these events, then yeah, we'll have to see what actually comes out of these. So first up, the first deck is Sky Striker Mine, as I said. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom, triple copies of Sky Striker Ray. We are packing no copies of Ghost Ogre, none of the other hand traps, just 3 Ash, no imperms in the main needed actually right now. And then we have triple copies of Called by the Grave. I've seen a lot of iffy discussion back and forth about this in Sky Striker, this format. I mean, hand traps are a lot more powerful this format than they've ever really been, so it just kind of... it's up in the air to kind of see what we're going to get out of this a little bit, so that's one big thing. And then we have one Foolish Blue Goods with one Metal Foes Fusion. I think the one Goods is pretty okay. I know a lot of people still really like this engine right now. There's been discussion between Desires and Foolish Braille Goods. I do think, because this is once per turn, one of this is actually just fine. Then we have 2 copies of Mystic Mine. We're planning to floodgate the opponent out so that they can't play the game, and Mystic Mines is going to allow you to do that in a very, very, very nice, sensibly slow fashion. Then we have triple copies of MST. Twin Twister's discard is too costly right now, and it really sucks to say that, because Twin Twister, while it is a power card and it can further speed up the spells in the graveyard, MST is just a lot better right now as a 1-for-1 destruction. Then we have 1 Rhoda, triple copies of the Field Spell. This has become standardized again. 1 copy of Afterburners, 1 copy of Eagle Booster, 1 copy of Hornet Drones. We're still between 1 to 2 Shark Cannons. It just kind of depends on player preference, I guess, at this point. Triple Widow Anchor, triple copies of Multi-Roll, 1 copy of Hercules Base. Yeah, Hercules is making that return now to recycle the Kagari so that you can get further advantage on the opponent. We have triple copies of Engage, 2 copies of Terraforming, 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, and triple copies of Metaverse. Getting the activation of that field spell during the opponent's turn, this card, is really good. Now the extra deck here is pretty interesting. We have 1 Topological Bomber Dragon, triple Shizuku, 1 Kaina, 1 Kagari, triple Hayate, 1 copy of Ningirsu, 1 Crusadia Avermax, 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Ablaze, and 1 Borrelsword Dragon. Definitely the most interesting part to me is the cutting of the Kaina for the Avermax. Now, we've definitely seen that Avermax has been a powerhouse. A lot of players have started to explore this as of late, and he's definitely doing a lot of work. But I mean, between Bomber and Avermax and Borrelsword, you have to play all of them, I almost feel now. Side deck, we have triple Ansia, triple DD Crow, triple Sphere Mode, triple Twin Twister, and triple Summon Limit, wrapping up the side deck. Just straight 3-ofs, just massively trying to stop any real thing that our opponent is trying to do. And I mean, that's Sky Striker's game plan now, is just absolute denial. So congratulations to first place on this. Now, the next list we're going to be looking at is, in fact, Salamangreatt. Now, one thing I've noticed between all solid lists this weekend is a lot of people are not playing Signet Mining right now. I think a lot of people just feel that it's not worth it. I almost agree with you. I do think, for the most part, that Signet's Mining's -1 can be a bit detrimental to you, and people aren't trying to get Ash this format. So that's something very critical to understand. This is just literally anything happens at Signet Mining, you're automatically down 2 cards, and you're not trying to go down that much an egg. So anyway, we have triple copies of Ash Blossom, 2 copies of Crusadia Reclusia, triple copies of Effect Veiler, triple copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasmi. We have triple copies of Flame Buffalero, and then we have 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 1 copy of Lady Debug, 1 copy of Salamangreatt Falco, one copy of the Foul, triple Foxy, triple copies of Gazelle, one copy of Jack Jaguar, triple copies of Spinny. Spells, we have triple Called by the Grave. Once again, I think we are heading towards a format now where Called by the Grave is going to be this huge staple. Everybody's so sick of getting hand trapped at this point that it's actually just ridiculous. So this doesn't really shock me that we're going down this path, just because of the way the format is. We have triple copies of Salamangreatt Circle, one copy of Salamangreatt Sanctuary, two copies of Twin Twister, one copy of Will of the Salamangreatt. Then we have one Rage and two copies of Roar. I think that this has also become pretty standardized at this point. A lot of players definitely are liking the two Roar. I've seen discussion on two Rage. I don't think that's correct by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like you're kind of just bogging yourself down a little bit too much, considering you're already playing 42 cards. So that's something else too. Alright, down here in the extra deck, we have triple copies of Salamangreatt Sunlight Wolf, two copies of Heat Leo, triple copies of Valenix. Once again, Avermax showing up in more numbers, definitely once again proving that, hey, this card might be this powerhouse that we should consider. One copy of Phoenix, one copy of Ablaze, one Borolo Dragon, one Tornado Dragon, one Mirage Stalio, and one copy of Abyss Dweller. Side deck here we have two Lancia. Orcust is still very much a problem in today's format, so having a hand trap that can out that, very good. One copy of Scythe. This is also, if it's not in the main, it should be in the side for this deck. Triple copy of Spring Tops, one copy of I'd Like to Gain Life Points, one copy of Twin Twister, triple copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, triple copies of Artifact Sanctum, and one copy of Imperial Order, wrapping up the second place Nationals list. Once again, also not too damn bad. I'm fairly impressed with how everything is going so far. And the last one we have today, this is actually a deck list that was sent in to me that got first place at Locals. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, Locals profiles, Robbie. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, he went 4-0. So, you know, I'll take it for what it's worth. So, we have one copy of Dynamite. We have triple copies of Ignis, Heat, one copy of Majesty Maiden. This is where it gets spicy. This is the 3 copies of Surziel. So, interestingly enough, we're trying to use the True Draco package in combination with Evil Eye to generate more advantage, because Surziel having the ability to be a Drident during the opponent's turn. Man, I'm tongue-twistering myself today so hard. Having the ability to interrupt on the opponent's turn is really good. I mean, all this deck is just responses on the opponent's turn, so having access to this just makes things a little bit better. We have triple card Demise, triple copies of Old Disciples, triple Dragonic Diagram, one copy of the Evil Eye of Pradilla, getting the ability to add this, pretty good. Then we only play 2 copies of Evil Eye of Selene. Too many of this and you're going to run into issues, I feel, so I think 2 is correct, considering what you're trying to do with the deck. We have triple copies of Pot of Duality, 2 copies of Terraforming, triple copies of Heritage. Now, we are playing 2 copies of Crackdown. This doesn't really surprise me either. I know there's been a lot of discussion on 2 or 3. I'm seeing a lot of people heading towards the 2 mark right now, just because, like, you don't want to bog yourself down too much. The card's good, but, you know, I don't know. It's player preference, strictly. We have 2 copies of Evil Eye Retribution. I mean, hey, free onboard negates. That can't be negated. Really good. 2 copies of the Monarch's Erupt. 2 copies of There Can Only Be One. Triple Apocalypse, and 1 copy of True King's Return, wrapping up the main deck. Now, there is no extra deck. Makes sense because of this. Side deck, we have 1 copy of Metaltron, triple copies of Sphere Mode, 2 copies of Deck Lockdown. We have 2 copies of Evil Eye Confrontation. So if you control an Evil Eye monster, you can target 1 spell trap card your opponent controls to destroy it. And if you have an Evil Eye of Selene in your spell and trap card zone, you can banish the destroyed card. So you basically have a Cosmic Cyclone that's free. And then we have triple copies of Monarch Stormforth, our 3rd copy of Crackdown, 1 copy of Evil Eye Retribution, 1 the Monarch's Erupt, and 1 copy of There Can Only Be One. So this list was brought to you by Jotham Courtney, which, I mean, hey, congratulations on doing relatively well with this. This is a relatively cool concept. So, I'm going to continue our journey with all of these crazy deck lists throughout the week. I think there's a lot more to come, honestly. The format is so crazy cool right now. It's awesome. So, guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about these decks. Well, guys, I'm out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.